Vivo. Vambora, vambora, vambora. Vai começar. Fala, pessoal! Tudo bom? Todo mundo ficou surdo e o teu pai tá on. Caraca, gente, pera aí que eu vou mostrar aqui o que todo mundo quer ver. Vamos colocar logo o play aqui. Vou tirar um pouquinho o som. Todo mundo quer saber os carros confirmados. Tá, enquanto ela tá falando... Pera aí, deixa eu diminuir um pouquinho o volume aqui. Eles vão conversar. Opa, pera aí que a minha live no celular... Ah, tá, principais mensagens não, chat ao vivo. Chat ao vivo. Agora sim. Salve Kaique, salve Pedro, salve Klaus, salve Gabatera, salve Gabriel, salve Raul, salve Henrique, salve Marcelo, salve Matheus. 5 Ferraris novas chegando aqui. Boa tarde, Bernardo, beleza, mano? Estamos vendo um replayzinho pequeno aqui do Forza Monf e vamos logo mostrar os carros, né? Porque eles ficam conversando aí alguns minutos. Vamos logo mostrar a F8 tributo aí, enquanto a gente espera começar o Let's Go, que todo mundo quer ver. Começou agora, Gabriel. Salve, Alex. Salve, Cássio. Salve, Eliezer. Salve, Rickson. Salve, Knight. Beleza, pessoal? Salve, André. Boa tarde. Salve, Míssil. Estamos vendo aí a F8 tributo. Já já ele vai mostrar a garagem e tem outros carros aparecendo. Salve, Taylor, beleza? Salve, Leonardo. É o Leozinho 180? Não sei, hein? Bom, pessoal, estamos aqui aguardando o início do Forza Let's Go. Estou mais animado do que nunca. E eu não consegui colocar a minha câmerazinha para funcionar quando eu pego a imagem do PC. Mas enfim, espero que todo mundo esteja vendo a Ferrari aí, porque eu não consigo acompanhar a live, o chat da live pelo PC. Eu acompanho pelo celular e assisto pelo PC. Então espero que a imagem esteja boa para todos vocês. Espero que o meu som esteja bom para todos vocês também. Qualquer coisa vocês comentem aí, por favor. Salve, Jonas! Salve, Hugo! Beleza? Cara, eu acho que a DLC não vai ser anunciada hoje, mas já tivemos algumas surpresas, né? A SF90 eu não esperava por ela, e ela foi confirmada já. O Jake XVX tinha dito que ela poderia chegar, eu não acreditei e falei, quero queimar minha língua. Queimei minha língua. Tô feliz da vida. F8 tributo, essa que tá aparecendo aqui, exatamente. Isso, Marcos, exatamente. Eu já vi todos os carros aqui, quer dizer, todos não. 5 Ferraris, uma Ford F-150 Lightning, aquela do Velozes e Furiosos, Dodge Magnum, não vi outros ainda, porque eu não consegui assistir o Forza Monf. Mas ninguém quer ouvir eles, né? Ninguém quer ouvir eles, a gente só quer assistir a imagem da Ferrari. Agora ele vai entrar na garagem e a gente vai ver outros carros aqui. Ah lá, agora que ele vai mostrar. Vou até pausar aqui. Tá, por enquanto não tem nada novo, mas ó, Dodge Magnum SR T8 2008 já tinha sido vazado. Ferrari SF90 não é do passe, o Dodge Magnum é do passe. Ferrari 250 GT, nenhuma dessas 4 Ferraris é do passe, tá? Tem a F-150 Lightning aqui, ele vai mostrar agora. Ah lá, a Ferrari F-150 Lightning é do passe, infelizmente. Mas temos 5 Ferrari chegando ao jogo. Ele vai mostrar o pedacinho do Nissan aqui do Fosberg Racing, tá? Que é aquele 350Z de Rally, se não me engano. Não consegui ver direito. Vamos dar play aí que ele vai entrar na SF90. E tá todo mundo muito animado, não tá? Eu tô super animado. Salve, Benhur, beleza, mano? É Leozinho 180, aí sim. Só quer SF90, Pedro? Muito lindo esses carros, né? Taylor, então, cara, por enquanto nada de Audi BMW, mas pode ser que eles mostrem no Forza Let's Go, né? Tô mostrando um pedacinho do Forza Monf aqui, agora com a SF90. Ele vai falar um pouco sobre o motor, algumas notícias aí, algumas informações da SF90. A gente vai ter muito tempo para comentar sobre isso aqui na live que começa daqui a 5 minutos, né? No Let's Go Série 7. Estou ansiosíssimo para dirigir todas essas Ferraris aí. A Ford F-150 também, que eu sou fã dela. Tinha a miniatura dela. E desde antes da época do Velozes e Furiosos já achava bonita. Ah, exatamente, Marcos. É o 370Z de Rally, né? Eu achei que era o 350Z de Rally do Fosberg Race. Exatamente. Azaf Gamer, são 5 Ferraris. As inéditas são a SF90 e a F8. As outras estão retornando ao Forza, já estiveram em Forza anteriores. Vai ser top, exatamente. Boa tarde, Nilo, beleza? Ferrari F-150? Será que eu falei isso, César? Achei que eu tinha falado certo, Ford F-150. O Audi RS3, Rickson, ele esteve presente nos arquivos do jogo, depois tiraram, né? Infelizmente, não sei por que eles fizeram isso. Também queria que tivesse o RS3 Sedan. Seria muito legal. Ah, Marcos, cara, se der pra colocar ela S1 com pneu de rally, talvez ela fique boa. S2 915, o pneu dela com certeza vai ter um grip, um controle, né, uma aderência maior do que o pneu de rally. Pode ser que ela com o pneu de rally na S1 fique boa, cara. Vamos ver, né? Matheus, hoje não é live de vender carro, não. Hoje é live de notícia. Hoje eu não vou conseguir vender carro pra vocês, não. Até porque eu nem estou logado no jogo. E hoje estou sozinho aqui. O teu pai me abandonou. Ele tá aqui em casa, mas ele me abandonou sozinho aqui. Daqui a pouco eu que vou falar que eu sou o teu pai. Vou tomar conta do canal. Já invadi o canal dele mesmo? Daqui a pouco eu vou tomar conta e deixar pra mim. Também, Pedro Henrique, tô muito feliz com as novas Ferraris. Será, Night X? Será que vão ser apelonas? A F8 sendo S1. A SF90, se puder colocar na S1 900, cara, acho que vai ficar muito boa. Mais de 1000 cavalos, exatamente, Raul. Exatamente. O pessoal tava comentando isso no Forza Month. Alex, você quer que a gente não coloque o aerofólio, é isso? Cara, a gente acha feio o aerofólio da Ferrari. Da Ferrari não, o aerofólio do Forza. Seria mais legal se tivesse outras opções para colocar. Uns aerofólios mais bonitos aí. Buenas tardes, Lucas, beleza? Salve, Henrique. O carro do Velozes e Furiosos é a, como eu disse, Ferrari F-150. É a Ford F-150, a picape que o Brian usava para trabalhar lá no Velozes e Furiosos 1. Gabriel é pouco fã da Ferrari? Ah, eu curto bastante. Eu acho que eu prefiro até Lamborghini. Ó, agora ele vai mostrar mais alguns carros. Vai entrar na Califórnia, que já tinha lá no Horizon 4. Mas agora tem a animação da capota. Agora tem a animação da capota. Gostava da berlineta, Gabriel? Ah, saquei. Audi R8? Acho que não, cara. Acho que não. Miller? Também acho que não. Ainda não vi nenhum carro antigo aparecendo. Por enquanto, o antigo tem a Ferrari, né? Tem a Ferrari 250. Mas fora isso, eu ainda não vi nenhum outro carro antigo. A grande novidade dessa Ferrari Califórnia é a abertura do teto, mesmo porque o carro a gente já conhece lá. Eu acho ela feia. E a gente já conhece esse carro lá dos outros Forza anteriores. Fora isso, nada de novo. Ela não era boa para usar, ela era S1 fraca. Eu não reparei a nota dela, porque eu tô olhando pro chat aqui no celular, não tô olhando para a imagem da live no computador. Se ela viesse classe A, talvez ela ficasse boa na classe A. Se bem que ela era já no Horizon 4, acho que eu tô lembrando aqui agora. Ela já era classe A. Salve, Rafael! Beleza, mano? Tranquilo? Salve, salve, RXD! Tá faltando uma Ferrari? Não, são 5 Ferraris que eles falaram. F8 Tributo, SF90, Califórnia, 512 TR e a 250. 5 Ferraris. Também acho essa Ferrari muito feia. Exatamente. Pedro, exatamente. SF90 vai ser recompensa de temporada. 80 pontinhos. Pô, galera, 2 estações você já consegue chegar nos 80 pontos. Eu já vi gente reclamando lá no GT Planet que é muita coisa. Ah, pô, 80 pontos. Se fosse 80% seria muita coisa. Mas é 80 pontinhos só. Tranquilo pra pegar, eu acho, pelo menos. Não sei, Gabriel, se a F8 vai ser muito boa na classe S1. Tomara que sejam carros bons, sem ser muito apelões, né? Não quero nenhum Razer na classe A, não quero que eles traguem nenhum bug novo no jogo, mas enfim. Espero que sejam carros bons que a gente consiga usar. Exatamente, Henrique, a Ford F-150 Lightning, exatamente. O Jetta Bora nada foi dito ainda. Tudo que você queria? Califórnia com animação? Show de bola. Boa de curva? Ah, Azaf. Ficou devendo um pouco de desempenho em linha reta? Entendi. Cara, F12 eu não sei porque... Opa, deixa eu fechar aqui. O antivírus está funcionando. Ainda bem. F12 berlineta, seria legal. A Califórnia parece a 599? Mais ou menos. Ah, Gabriel, se ama os carros antigos... Eu gosto dos carros da década de 40 em diante. Da década de 30 eu não sou fã, não. Não curto muito, não. A Ferrari 512 TR é a última das Testarossa, né? A Testarossa é muito famosa da década de 80. Essa daí é até um pouco parecida com a F355, na minha opinião. As linhas dela. Então, eu já tive esse carro nos Forza anteriores, que a gente está vendo aqui em Guanajuato agora. E já vai começar lá o outro. Deixa eu ver aqui como é que tá a questão. Esperando Forza. Tá, vai começar daqui a pouco. Beleza. Enquanto a gente ouve essa musiquinha, eu sei que não começou. Então vamos rolar a gameplay aqui. Enquanto a gente ouve a musiquinha lá do Forza Month. Esse ano tem Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, exatamente. 80 pontinhos, Pedro. Tranquilo. Bruno, por enquanto tô mostrando Forza Month. Forza Let's Go vai começar já. Salve, Davi, beleza? Não, Marcos, deve chegar mais carros. Só não mostraram todos ainda. Eu acho que vão ser 9 carros que vão chegar. Com certeza, no passe é 1 por semana. Já são 4. Nas estações também, 1 por semana, no mínimo. E tem a Ferrari SF90, que é da temporada toda. Eu espero pelo menos 9 carros aí. Matheus, então, para liberar essa F90 são 80 pontos da temporada toda. Parou de fazer o barulhinho aqui? O que tá rolando? Ah, 2 minutos e pouco, ó. Então vamos voltar para cá. Enquanto não começa, a gente dá play aqui. Tem uma musiquinha de fundo aí. Vamos ver aqui. Buenas tardes, Guilherme. Beleza? Tacoma elétrico? Toyota Tacoma elétrica no Forza Horizon 4? Não lembro disso não. Caraca. Pois é, Rafael. SF90 antes tarde do que nunca. Falta ainda alguns carros aí. Pois é, Hugo. Vamos ver. A herança automotiva, né? Tem bastante Ferrari chegando. Mas o Mike Brown já adiantou no Forza Month. A herança automotiva, ele falou muito de novas roupas. A gente sabe que toda temporada nova vão chegar novas roupas e novas buzinas, mas eu espero que não seja apenas isso. A herança automotiva do México não pode se resumir a roupas mexicanas, né? Pelo amor de Deus. Enfim. Deixa eu ler aqui o chat novamente. Última McLaren que deram tá muito apelando no S1. A 765 LT, Alex? Cara, eu ainda não tunei a minha, sabia? A minha ainda tá original, ainda não vi. Gabriel, a minha Ferrari favorita é F355, a época que eu era adolescente. F40, eu era as roupas aí, ó. Tô mostrando as roupas agora. Roupa de mariachi. Deixa eu ver se tem mais alguma coisa boa aqui. Acho que não. Vou mostrar foto e acabou. Já já a gente vai lá pro Forza Month, então. E terminando de falar sobre a F40, eu era criança na época da F40. Eu acho ela uma das mais legais, mas a minha preferida é a F355. Vai pegar as duas rápidas, Mihawk? Beleza. Jorge, cara, ouvir opinião brasileira, bom, eu acho que é difícil, né, cara? É difícil. Bom, tem muita gente no Twitter que pede carro lá, eu vejo no Twitter do Forza Horizon. Mas muita gente pede português, aí complica também, né? Exatamente, Henrique, essa Ferrari parece a Testarossa. Ela é a 512 TR de Testarossa. Só que a original é da década de 80, né? Essa é da década de 90. Estou bem, Guilherme. Tudo bem, graças a Deus. Ferrari F50 2011. 2011? Essa eu não conheço, não. Matheus, já respondi. Opa. Agora vamos voltar para cá. Cadê a Charlie?
I'm very excited to be here live and in person from this wonderful streaming space here at Playground Games. Actually, my first time here at Playground Games, despite being on Forza monthly for like 2 years now. And we have some lovely guests with us as well. So, no, not yet. We are going to look at what's coming up on the show, and then you can say hi. Let's check out the stream schedule. With May just around the corner.
Bom, agora eu vou me calar aqui pra gente ouvir eles, tá?
Horizon Festival can. And then we're going to be looking at some of the many new cars you can be driving this series. We're going to have some changes for Horizon Tour events, and you'll want to know about those, especially if you're an accolade hunter. And then we're going to be looking at some of the bug fixes coming this series, including a few that I'm sure players are going to be very happy about. And then we're going to recap Thorben Thursday. I mean, you can figure out what happened there. But we'll take a look at the clues you might have missed this month. And then, finally, we'll be looking at some new cosmetics and car horns you can be earning over the next few weeks. And when I said finally, I didn't mean it, because we've got another thing. Because we'll be doing a deep dive into all the events and challenges coming your way in the Series 7 Festival playlist. There we go.
A última coisa.
Speed. So now we can do introductions. Hello! On the sofa this month to talk to us about all things Series 7, we have creative director Mike.
Vamos lá, Mike Brown.
Oh, you're in the person. I've spoke to you through a screen so many times.
We're all 3D. It's crazy. Life isn't a simulation and figuring it out. You are BAFTA fresh. To spoil it.
If we can get the shot of the BAFTA. Yes. 2 weeks ago, a few of us went down to the BAFTAs and came home victorious with our BAFTA.
Is it heavy?
It's quite heavy, yeah. I was not going to move it because this table's a little bit unstable, but no, I'm going to pass it to you now. There you go. Hold that. There you go.
Esse daí é o prêmio que eles ganharam. Melhor jogo.
Should be, right? If it was really light, you'd be like, I've been cheated. Well, this is mine, thank you. Well, excellent. Well, it's a pleasure to have you back on Let's Go. I'll give you this
pop
back.
it down.
Yeah.
That's
I don't break
best
something.
British game, so absolutely thrilled to have picked that up. Yeah.
Wonderful. And we also have on the show our resident car expert, Mr. Chris Phillips, who can do lots of talking about the vehicles.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
That's my only purpose.
You're like, no, I'm actually here for something else. Who, not BAFTA fresh, apparently, because I've already given Mike the introduction. So, yeah.
It's Chris's too. It's a
No. It's yours. And of course, we have our social media manager, Giuseppe. Hello.
Hello. Can I speak now? Yeah.
Yes, you can speak.
Okay, no, yes. Well, first of all, nice to see you in person. Glad to be here. I'm a little bit shaky, not like last time, a little bit less, 80%.
Okay.
Esse cara no mês passado ele tava se tremendo de medo. Agora já é a segunda vez e ele falou que não tá se tremendo tanto não, mas ele tá conhecendo pela primeira vez aí a Leviathan, que tá no lugar da Charlie hoje.
Wait, you were shaky last time?
Yeah, like really
terrified.
I was terrified.
Was that the first time you've been on any camera? Because it
No.
suddenly seemed like it.
Yeah, no, I pretend I do, but I didn't. But here it's amazing to be,
That's the secret. You're always a little bit scared. No matter
Always.
what, if you're on a show.
Yeah, it's like Hulk, but instead of being hungry, I'm nervous. So basically,
Well, you don't seem nervous. There's a lot of confidence exuding. I'm basking in it. So let's start by talking about Cinco de Mayo. It's the topic of the day.
Vamos
so
lá,
for
falar
those of
sobre
us who
5 de maio.
haven't heard about it, what is Cinco de Mayo Festival? What is it? What's it all about?
So, yes, the Horizon Festival is inviting the world to join us in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, which is a festival that celebrates all things Mexico, Mexican culture, Mexican cuisine, and brings that to the world. So there'll be a lot of things this month which are in celebration of that. I think we're going to have Dave on in a little bit to talk about that in a bit more detail.
Can't see him, but he's in the corner.
He's in the corner waving.
Love that. Well, there we go. So Cinco de Mayo very much going to be celebrated in Forza Horizon 5, as it should be, of course, And not only that, but we've got lots of new vehicles, new cars, and we can see some of the celebrations in the world of Horizon Mexico.
Vamos ver.
And we're going to do so
Novos
by having a
Morais.
look in one of the new cars available this series, the Ford SVT Lightning.
Ford
Now, when you say
F-150.
Lightning, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting something a bit like sleeker looking, a bit like meow. So tell us more.
That is the best description I've ever heard of a car.
Meow.
This is a very fast truck.
It's a very, very. In fact, when it came out,
Very
it was the world's
fast
fastest
truck.
Wow.
Very fast and
Yeah, it could do
furious.
147 miles an hour, which is insanely
Looks
fast.
so deceiving. I'm judging a truck by its cover.
I mean, that's for a truck, that is very fast, especially when it came out in kind of early 2000s. It's had a 5.4 litre supercharged V8. I think it's 380 horsepower, which is quite a lot for back then. And just, an absolutely incredible. I really like the look of this thing. This and the Mustang from this era, I really like. But this is also famous for being in a fairly well-known film. It was in Fast and Furious 1. It has a really nice moment where they stack it full of car bits and drive it to go and soup up a Supra. So I think the community is really kind of wanting for this one. So this is one of the car pass cars for this series.
Cool. I love
É
the
carro
little
do
stuff on the
passe,
side.
né?
Really,
Lembrando.
it's inviting you to kind of hang on to the side while someone else is driving,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of just like two friends either side. You're all on a road trip. So I'm going to ask a question you're going to hate me to ask. What's SVT stand for? SVT Lightning.
Special vehicle.
Technologies.
Oh my god.
Chat?
Special Vehicles Technologies.
Technology asset.
Hey.
Ah.
Totally blank there.
At the end of this, he's going to hate me, curse me. Throwing these curveballs at me, woman. I mean, I don't know. For some reason in my mind, I can't combine like truck and fast truck. It just doesn't marry in my head. It shows how much experience I've had with trucks, really, doesn't it? Because there's some really fast trucks out there.
Yeah, there's very, very fast trucks now. Yeah, this truck actually kind of spawned that. So it was built to go up against some of the GMC cars, the Typhoon and the Cyclone.
Sick name.
Yeah, they are brilliant names. So Ford followed it up with a Lightning, which is equally cool and weather themed.
What do you reckon you could fit in the back of that thing?
A barbecue, quite a lot.
Quite a lot of super parts, I reckon.
Yeah, lots of super parts.
Excellent. Well, shall we have a look? We don't want to dive too much into Cinco de Mayo, which we're absorbing.
We're absorbing the beautiful,
through the world.
beautiful theming around
Yeah.
Guanajuato, yes.
You might have seen some of the what are they called?
Bunting.
But yes, bunting. Different parts of the celebration happening. But we're going to wait a little bit because we're going to talk about that. How we're celebrating it Horizon style a little bit later in the show. So for now, why don't we look at another new car? Why not? This series we have the Nissan Safari 370Z.
Nissan Safari.
So first of
Ah,
all,
tá.
point of
Forsberg
contention.
Racing.
Is it Z or Z?
I say Z.
I love that everyone looks straight to you immediately.
I think it's Z. I think that's how people would normally say it. And didn't you say earlier that in the US it's usually, they would refer to it as Fair Lady?
Yes, so it is a fair lady.
So I think we can claim it as British English and go Z.
Oh, I like that logic.
I'm having it. So
Okay, all right. So we're saying Z.
I think
We're
so.
saying Z. Z.
But born out of the fact that, this model on which the car is spec'd out from is termed Fair Lady in North America, but is usually 350 or 370Z for Europe.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
And this one in particular, this is a tribute to the 1971, I've got to try and get this right, 1971 East Africa, I think it was East Africa, the 19th running of the East African Safari winner, which looked like this. Sorry, I totally butchered all of
Quite a
that.
mouthful.
It's a lot to remember for this.
It looked like that sounded like you were reading a really distant autocue.
So quite an iconic car. In 1971, it won a safari rally. Safaris, they're not really a thing anymore. They used to be these really grueling endurance races. To win one was quite a challenge. So Nissan did that with the Fair Lady back then. And it looked a bit like this, but it was the old style Fair Lady. And Chris Forsberg decided to make his own tribute to it. This car is built to American rally regulations, so if he wanted to, he could race it. So it's got incredible suspension on it, got all the safety stuff you'd expect for it. And the engine's fairly stock because for rallying, you don't really want huge horsepower. So it's in around, I think, 200, 300 horsepower mark. I can't remember. Yeah, about 300.
A silly question. What's the difference between American rally regulations and UK? Is there UK rally regulations?
It's subtle differences. So it's just dependent on the governing bodies. So the World Rally Series is run by the FIA, and the Americans have their own series. I think it's
Just got their own.
I can't remember the name of it.
preferences.
But yeah, it's subtle differences, but for the most part, same kind of regulations.
Okay, fair enough. Right, I've got any more interesting facts about this thing then? So, any celebrities in our? No,
Just Chris Forsberg.
Yeah, it's just his. I mean, this is like his dream car that he built.
What's that stuck on the right hand side near the wing mirror?
Yeah.
That would be a spotlight.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah, you have obviously the spotlights out front, but then the passenger side, there's normally like a little thing the passenger could grab onto to move it around.
From the back, where we're just getting a view of it, I wondered if it's like a mounted camera or something. Like Chris Forsberg's actually mounted a camera for some of his videos, and then we've just modelled that in.
We do that quite a lot. There's quite a few cars that have GoPro mounts modelled on them because at the time of sourcing there was a GoPro mount on it, so we did that. This one also sounds really nice. There you go.
Just sound pretty meaty, yeah. Big fan of that. All right, well, so let's have a little talk about Horizon Tour then. So for those of you
E
who might
vamos
not
falar
be
sobre
familiar with
Horizon Tour agora.
would you like to explain what it is and what's new in Series 7?
Yeah, sure. So Horizon Tour is our cooperative PvE multiplayer game mode. You team up with either a team of friends or some people that you've met online and take on a team of drivatars. You take on a championship of 3 races across the world, and you also do the drives between the races, so you'll get to kind of group up together and drive across the world. Cool thing about Horizon Tour is that it has kind of more limiting vehicle restrictions than, say, the Horizon Open. So rather than it saying it's A-class, it might say it's B-class BMW, and it kind of forces you into certain corners of the car list and gets you to experience more the huge car list that Forza Horizon offers.
I guess one of those things where I feel like sometimes you don't realise your favourite car's lurking somewhere without you realising until you're forced to play it, and you're like, oh, hang on, I actually really like this one. So that's really nice. It's not just a tour of different locations, it's a tour of...
S2, Volney.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Chegando agora,
I think when you
S2.
dive into what people's actual favourite cars are, they're rarely the fastest cars. It's the cars that they love for some other reason, and the Horizon Tour can kind of take you there.
Yeah.
At SHIP, there were 30 different championships. We're adding quite a lot more than that now. Over 200, in fact, will be added to it, so there'll be much more variety in there, including S2, which
Including S2 aí, ó.
previously didn't have any S2 restrictions in there at all. I think if we
jump into it?
Yeah, let's jump in. Let's have a look at it. I mean, and that means you can actually...
O cara vai
earn the
puxar
power
S1?
accolade, right?
This
Which...
one's not S2.
Tinha que puxar S2, pô.
Oh,
Pra ver a classe S2.
We've got someone upstairs doing some server shenanigans to get this to work, and I wonder if we need to get the message up there. I don't know. Is anybody doing that, like, wipe at the throat sign?
So, with the Horizon Tours then, have there been any that you've particularly enjoyed? Like, is there any that stood out to you so far that have been quite enjoyable to race in? Yeah,
For me, I mean, I will say I kind of called out B-Class BMW earlier. I think that is
Yeah.
just a really cool one, just because it pushes you into a load of cars that are really fun to drive at stock. So, yeah, that would be my pick.
It challenges you quite a lot as well, doesn't it? Because, I mean, some of them... I mean, for example, I don't really like front-wheel drive cars. Don't know why. I can't drive them. I'm just rubbish with them. So
That's okay, that's normal.
I avoid them. Thank you for the validation. So I tend to avoid them, and, you know, if I'm forced into driving them, then eventually you probably get there, won't you? It's good. It's a good thing.
Do you want to abandon this if it's going to be...
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what server shenanigans have been done and if it's going to put you into an S2 or not.
No.
Just getting a good move on.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Ignore
let's,
Well, with the inclusion of this, then we can finally earn the Power Trip accolade. Hey, accolade. I say it differently every time. I'm sure, which you'll be pleased about if you love.
Sounds very fancy when you say it like that.
Accolade. Accolade. So if you are a completionist, then that is something you can now do. So yay. Well, if we were to play an S2 event, what vehicle would you use? Is there something in mind?
this series, it's got to be the
particular
Ferrari SF90. Stradale,
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, it's not. Look. All right, look. One of the reasons why I'm here is that I can make some jokes with the pronunciation actually being Italian. No, but SF actually, if I want to pronounce it in Italian way, I should say SF90 Stradale.
Ó. SF90 Stradale.
Stradale. So, yeah, but actually, it's not that bad. That's good.
It just sounds so much better when Italian says.
It does, I know.
It just does.
So you can put on as much of an accent as you want, but it's not going to
It's just
sound
not
good,
the
is
same.
it?
It's not the same. But anyway, about the car.
Anyways.
I'll get out of this as soon as I can. So yeah, the SF is this going to fall?
You're going to have to enter it then, quick.
Yeah. Just quickly flick through that. Yeah, so SF90. So the 90 that refers to it being Ferrari's 90th anniversary this year, which is quite incredible. They've been around for 90 years, and it's built to celebrate that. And it's a real technological marvel. So if you remember back 10 years ago, funnily enough, they did the LaFerrari as the kind of the celebration back then.
It's been 10 years since the LaFerrari.
10 years since LaFerrari. Or near, 2012. It was 2012 LaFerrari, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was in Horizon 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
been quite a long time.
Good.
I still think the Enzo's a new car. In fact, when I moved that to retro supercars, I think it moved into retro supercars for 5, I was like, I'm old.
That's going to keep happening, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, because that's a rolling thing. Anyway, sorry, SF90.
We should actually call it something here while we're here in the tour, shouldn't we? So here's a new feature. You may remember that previous iterations of Horizon Tour would have you race against 6 completely random gamer tags. Often, weirdly, it would pick like level 1 driver tars. No more. You will now race against the colourful.
Agora tem nomes
So,
diferentes os gravatários do Horizon Tour.
Rami, Alejandra, Alex, Charles from Bornfast, and Jay will be the people that you'll race against. And
Grande novidade do jogo essa, uau.
So no longer getting obliterated by XX.
Será que a gente vai encontrar o Mike Brown? Flawless
You'll now get obliterated by Rami,
Yay!
that everyone knows and loves.
Takes the edge off a bit, you know.
And the fact that there'll be the same races in every race that you do, you'll start to kind of pick out their driving personalities as well.
And
So
then you've got rivals like you despise, but you've got a face to a name, so you feel kind of.
yeah, you can really grow to hate these people.
Yeah. I actually have a question. Wait, what does stradale mean?
Right, so stradale is to indicate like a type of a car that goes, strada means road in Italian. So stradale basically means that it's on the road. So
Right.
it's a car that,
Just a road car.
for the road car.
So that sounds so much cooler than the meaning. Stradale.
Stradale.
Road car.
It used to denote when they built a race car and they had to homologate it for the road. The road version would be called the Stradale because it was the road
Thank you,
version
Chris.
of it.
I was thinking like, so in English it would just be like the Jaguar Road.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking car though. It's very sleek. Very.
Yeah.
I love the different. Are those vents at the back? I assume next to the rear window. Is like the.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
The different vent designs of different cars. I don't know. It's just. I always love that.
details.
It's always one of those where you look at it and go, is it style or is it performance?
yeah.
It's a Ferrari. It's both.
That's a good answer there. I'll take that. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, so yeah, as I was saying, this one's a real technological marvel. So the LaFerrari, they started to move towards hybrid. This is really embracing hybrid. So it's actually